Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 11 starts now.
It could have been prevented. Tonight, the Oakland County prosecutor addressing the meeting between school leaders and the suspect on the day of the Oxford High School shooting.
It's hard to look at what was produced at that meeting and everybody looked at. It's very hard to look at that and say that there was no concern. And unfortunately, he was allowed to go back to class. And we now know that he had a weapon with him.
Several new developments tonight as we come to you at 11 in the Oxford school shooting as the Oakland County prosecutor weighs whether to charge the suspect's parents.
A decision is expected by tomorrow. Our Mara McDonald is live at the prosecutor's office tonight. Mara, charging parents in these cases is really rare.
It is, Kimberly, but Prosecutor McDonald made it clear, at least in her comments this evening, that the access that this 15-year-old had to this gun is beyond negligence. And while she didn't definitively say charges are coming, sure sounds like it. Take a look. Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald will be announcing whether she is charging the 15-year-old gunman's parents tomorrow. And tonight, she was clear that when she does release more info in the morning, it is going to be hard for the rest of the parents at Oxford High School to hear it.
These parents are in such terrible, horrible grief. It's a terrible thing what happened. The information that will be announced tomorrow will also disclose that it probably could have been prevented, and that is unconscionable. So it's just not enough to charge this shooter.
Which certainly sounds like the prosecutor will be charging at least one parent. What her office has to weigh in making that decision?
Was it purchased for the shooter? Did the parents have any reasonable idea that he may use that weapon to hurt other people?
She also believes when the gunman's parents were called into school to discuss his troubling behavior, he likely had the gun in his backpack in that meeting. Tonight, Oxford School Superintendent Tim Throne, in a video message to parents, addressed why that 15-year-old was ultimately left in school for the day.
I want you to know that, there's been a lot of talk about the student that was apprehended, that he was, called up to the office and all that kind of stuff. No discipline was warranted. There are no discipline records at the high school.
Back here live, you heard Prosecutor McDonald at the top of the show saying, knowing what was presented in that meeting between school administrators and the gunman's parents, she said it was hard to believe there was no concern. In the context of what she's saying, I believe she's talking about the parents, meaning there was no concern by the parents, but I think that's going to be illuminated in far greater shape tomorrow morning. We're live at the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office. Devin, Kimberly, back to you.
Okay, Mara, let's stay with that video because it is bringing us a little more insight from the Oxford School Superintendent on what happened inside the school when the shots rang out and what to expect moving forward.
Certainly, first and foremost, our hearts and thoughts and prayers are still with our kids and our families, you.
In a somber 12-minute video to parents, Superintendent Tim Throne addresses Tuesday's tragedy.
We have parents that sent their kids to school 2 days ago, and they're never coming home.
In the message, he details what happened during the shooting and the aftermath.
We had administrators performing CPR. Our students did exactly as they had trained.
And now the mountainous task ahead.
Because they carried out their game plan so well, this high school is a wreck right now. Maybe the best way to describe it is it's like a war zone. it will be weeks probably before this building is ready.
And as for what was captured on the school's surveillance video,
I promised our staff today that I would reach out to the sheriff's office later tonight, and I will. And I will ask of them to release whatever video that they feel comfortable with releasing. I want you to know, and I want you to be as proud of your sons and daughters as I am and our staff is with what they did.
Superintendent also says school will soon begin the process of organizing the phones and the backpacks and all of the belongings left behind so they can return those to students and families.
Well, many communities around Metro Detroit are standing strong with Oxford, but none as much as Lake Orion. Not only are they neighbors, but the connections between the people of each town are countless. So it was no surprise so many came out for a vigil there tonight, which is where Jason Colthorpe joins us now live. Jason.
Yeah, Kim, so many connections. In fact, some of the police officers from Lake Orion who were out here tonight were some of the first who were on the scene Tuesday. And the message from everyone out here tonight was very simple. We love you, and we're here for you.
It's hard to find a person who doesn't know someone from Oxford. We're very close. We have unified teams. The children know each other. I think this is about as close to home as it hits for us than it can be.
Heather Sanawi knows there's power in being together.
Tonight we put aside all differences. Tonight we come together to grieve. And tonight we are all Wildcats.
Many from the Orion community filled Children's Park for a vigil, including Lake Orion's police chief, who was on the scene at Oxford Tuesday in about 5 minutes.
I have my moments, I cry. Then I'm okay. I've been busy the last few days. When I'm busy, I'm fine. But then when I think about a certain situation that I came across, it totally bothers me. It weighs heavily on me.
And our hearts just go out for such courage and bravery.
You knew that something was wrong.
In 20 years, Cindy Cairo had never heard that many sirens going north on 24.
To think what happened up there and to know that it was people that we know, you know, the cousins and nieces and all the people that I work with, it seemed like everybody had some connection.
She and her husband Tom, along with their 8th grade son, felt the need to be here.
I'm grateful that we have this great community here. Happy that I came out, you know, just because it makes me feel like we're kind of coming together as a community.
Yeah, and I think it was very well said there that we are all Wildcats right now. I want to give you an update on the 3 remaining students who are still hospitalized, 2 17-year-old girls and a 14-year-old girl. They are all now stable, but one has been upgraded, one of the 17-year-olds from critical to stable. So vigils like this, the prayers, they're working. We're live in Lake Orion tonight. Jason Colthorpe, Local 4.
It's nice that the two communities have each other to lean on for sure. Jason, would appreciate it.
For a second straight day, dozens of districts all across Metro Detroit are going to be closed tomorrow due to threats.
Today, Oakland County Sheriff Mike Bouchard said the copycat threats forced at least 60 schools to close. Many of those same schools have decided to not hold classes again tomorrow out of an abundance of precaution. Click on Detroit has a complete list of all closures. To see if your child's school is closed, you can just click on the link right there on the home page.
One of those threats was directed at Stevenson High in Sterling Heights. Sterling Heights Police Chief is going to be joining Local 4 News today to discuss an arrest on that front, as well as the seriousness of these threats. That's coming up tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.
University of Michigan announcing it will be honoring the victims of the Oxford High School shooting during this weekend's Big Ten championship game.
University has released this picture of the patch that will appear on their jerseys Saturday in Indianapolis. The patch features TM42 in honor of Oxford football player Tate Meir. The 4 hearts represent the 4 victims: Tate, Hannah St. Juliana, Madison Baldwin, and Justin Schilling.
And the Oxford community will be holding a candlelight vigil tomorrow night. The public vigil will take place at 7 p.m. in downtown Oxford at the intersection of M24 and Burdick. M24 will be closed to traffic between East Street and Broadway starting 30 minutes before that vigil. We'll be carrying it live on clickondetroit.com, as well as a live report tomorrow night on Local 4 News at 11.
We are getting a look at the dire situation in Michigan hospitals as medical teams grapple with record high COVID patients amid this fourth surge of infections. A 22-member medical team from the U.S. military is going to assist Covenant Healthcare in Saginaw starting December 12th. Two other teams began treating patients at hospitals in Grand Rapids and Dearborn this week. State health officials say more than 4,500 people were hospitalized with the virus just yesterday, most of them unvaccinated.
More than a month since 18-year-old Brendan Santo went missing in East Lansing, and today 35 rescue divers were back in the Red Cedar River searching for the Grand Valley State freshman. He was last seen on October 29th at MSU's campus visiting friends. Divers are using sonar equipment and dark vision goggles to help in their search. Santo's family says they've had people reach out to them with the search. They hope to remain hopeful that Brendan will be found and back home safely.
A government shutdown has been avoided. Late tonight, the Senate passing a stopgap spending bill to fund the federal government through February 18th. Final tally on the vote was 69 to 28, overcoming a push from a group of Republicans who were hoping to defund the government in opposition to President Biden's vaccine mandate for large employers.
Well, still ahead, they promoted their lawsuit as a way to keep former President Trump in office.
The ruling just handed down against the so-called Kraken legal team coming up. Let's check in with Paul.
Well, hey, Devin. Now, when the kids head off for school, most of us will be dry, but there will be some snow to the south. 31 for the morning bus stop, 40 in the afternoon, and cloudy. However, this is now being handled differently by high-resolution computer models that are coming in right now, and it's going to have, it looks like, a greater impact in terms of snow on our area tomorrow. I'm going to have everything you need to know coming up in just a few minutes.
Okay, Paul. But first, President Biden announces his plan to try to stop the spread of COVID this winter, how it could affect your family when we come back.